Nifty. All right, let me get in our experts for the day. We have with us Siddharth Sedani, Sajiv Dhawan and Sumit Bagadia. Let me first go to Sajiv Dhawan. Mr. Dhawan, what are you doing? What are you buying? What are you selling at the moment?
Morning. Well, it's been a very difficult time for everyone in the markets, clearly. Traders on the long side obviously have got badly hit. We've seen some people obviously take some short positions. We're using the panic and the falls as an opportunity to probably accumulate some stocks which we liked. There's been not many sectors which have been left out from the carnage. So two-wheelers, they've been hit quite badly. So stocks like Hero, TVS, Bajaj, they've corrected 15 to 20%. They look reasonable to accumulate as an investor. The short-term pains will definitely be there over the next month or two. But going forward, I think you're getting a decent opportunity to come into these good, solid companies, hoping that things do calm down over the next few weeks. Housing finance companies, they've also been badly hit. There will definitely be some slowdown. But again, we feel that the valuations of stocks like Dewan Housing and LIC Housing look decent. So if you're an investor, you can look to accumulate. So I think investors should look at the opportunities in the market. The Nifty can slip a little bit more, but it's very difficult to predict the bottom. So look at individual stocks where you think that there's selling has been a bit too much and they offer some decent value with a 3 to 6 month sort of time frame.
All right, I'm going to come back to that, but let me get the calls from our other guests. Siddharth Sedani, what are you doing at the moment?
Well, good morning. At the current state, of course, there is a lot of volatility on the back of global uncertainties, bond yields across the globe going higher, especially the US bond yields, and a little bit of a risk of trade is ongoing. Along with that, what we believe is there are a lot of domestic jitters also. Although the demonetization factor is always a positive with a long-term perspective, but what we believe is in the short run it can hit consumption, and there can be a little bit of a slowdown in Q3 and Q4. So with this, what we believe is, I think if there is a lot of further volatility, I think one should accumulate good quality stocks and the existing portfolio stocks in there and accumulate on a staggered manner.
All right. So I see that you have a buy on Zee Entertainment, right?
Yes. Zee Entertainment in the media space, again, it's a leading company in the media space, looking quite attractive. If you look at the numbers also, the revenue also grew around 22% and subscription growth also was higher by 22% on a YOY basis. Ad revenue growth is also higher. Whatever you are talking about in terms of management commentary, management is also expecting something around 15-16% in terms of ad revenue growth going forward. So overall, in terms of media, yes, they spoke in the regional part of the channel is also doing quite good. So overall in the media space, Zee looks quite immune to the current situation which we are seeing in terms of demonetization is concerned. So Zee Entertainment looks quite attractive and very positive with a medium to long term perspective.
All right, let's just pull up the rupee for you. It's slipped below 68 for the first time since June, I think. This is the first time since June that rupee has slipped below 68, and that was bound to happen because the dollar is strengthening and there is a fear that India is going to become more, growth is going to be affected in India. There you see 68.10, and that's almost 42 basis point drop. So 0.5%, 0.42% drop in a single day. That's partly because the dollar is gaining and a lot of money is going out at the moment. As you can see, those FII figures show that there has been a sell-off on India for a while. We also have with us Sumit Bagadia. And Sumit, what are you buying?
Hi, good morning, Anil. We are expecting Power Grid to move from present levels. I think Power Grid has already given a very good upside move yesterday, and we have seen that it is trading near 52-week high levels. I think from present levels, we can see a good upside move in the counter, in which we immediately can see levels of around 200. And if 200 is taken away, then we can see a extended rally till 210 levels. So I think if anyone wants to initiate a position in Power Grid, then can initiate at CMP, or if by chance there is a small dip of 2 to 3 points from present levels, then that can be used as a good buying opportunity, with a trading stop loss to be placed at 183 rupees on lower side for the immediate upside till 200 levels, and above that we can see levels of around 210 also in next couple of days.
All right.
The second pick for the day is Bharti Airtel. Bharti Airtel has given breakdown and it's looking weak on charts. Immediately looking at the chart, it seems that the stock is headed for 280 levels. So for a trading perspective, one can initiate sell position in Bharti Airtel at CMP or on rise in prices till 304, 305 level should be used as selling opportunity, with a stop loss to be placed at 310 rupees on higher side for the downside target of 280 levels. And if 280 is taken away, then we can see extended sell off till 260 levels also. But for an immediate target of 280, one can initiate sell position in Bharti Airtel. The third pick for the day is Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra is looking good to me. In last couple of days, we have seen that from lower levels, we have seen a recovery in the counter, and in last 2 days, we have seen that the stock is consolidating near 440, 445 levels. Now we feel that from present levels, we will see upside rally in the counter, in which the stock can touch levels of around 470 in next couple of days. So for a trading perspective, one can initiate long position in Tech Mahindra at CMP with the stop loss to be placed at 428 levels on lower side for the upside target of 460 and 470 levels in next couple of days.
All right. Sajiv Dhawan, you know, demonetization is being seen partly as the end of black money, but almost everyone agrees that all cash is not black, and it will still take some time for you to go back to the cash economy, which is a significant part of even small businesses. What impact do you see on SMEs?
Well, the problem is across the board. It's a big decision, and the markets are clearly reflecting the nervousness of what will happen. As soon as the queues go down in the banks, you'll see some semblance of normalcy return. But in the short term, if you're looking at these companies, they will be affected. There's no question of that. Me, myself, and my staff have found it very difficult to get money over the last in the first few days. Now things are better, but obviously, you're going to be careful with what you're spending when you have so a little amount of cash in your hand. The credit cards, debit cards, it does not go around the whole country, and the Indian economy is hugely dependent on cash. So the short-term pain will be there. The long-term benefits, I think, will outweigh it in the longer term. But that's why we say the opportunity is there for longer-term investors to look at this opportunity to come back into these companies. The results of the coming quarter will be hit. You'll see managements, if things do not ease out, probably be a bit more circumspect, especially in some of these sectors, FMCG, saying that the January to March quarter also might be a bit slow, but from April onwards, I think you'll see a substantial pickup and the base effect will kick in. So short-term pain, but a good opportunity, as I've said again and again, that for investors, it's much easier to buy than from a trader's perspective, because there's still too much volatility in the markets.
But Mr. Dhawan, surely there are some companies where the entire narrative changes, right? Because if you let's just take a look at how much the government has been able to distribute or print in the last 11 days. It said that it's done about 1 lakh crore, which works out to about 9,000 crores, 9 to 10,000 crores per day in terms of the amount of money being printed. One estimate suggested about 12,000 crores. So even if we say that 16 lakh crores which is being demonetized, out of that only 14.5 lakh crores will be put back into the system, that still takes 120 days for the cash to be replaced. Simply cash to be replaced. And now some of that would obviously still be inactive, but that is what a large part of it goes into transactions. Let's take a company like HUL, for instance. Its last mile is all cash. How long will this disruption, what kind of long-term impact does it have on a company like HUL?
Well, the impacts, I think, are there in the short term. The longer term, things will get back to normal. People will get used to it. The problem and the pain is clearly there at the moment. The shops can't supply. They're not able to get the stock. People don't have the money to buy in cash, and that's the pain that you're seeing. So the longer term impacts, yes, there will be definitely a slowdown, and stocks like Hindustan Lever, ITC, Dabur will be under some pressure in the short term. What the government is trying to do is obviously for the greater good, what they feel. They've not probably factored in the impact of how much of the cash economy is there and the damage they've done. So even smaller businesses will be badly affected. Whether they'll be able to sustain this period of 30 to 60 days and come out surviving is another question. So it's very, very hard to predict, but clearly there will be some short-term impact. And as I've said, you are seeing that reflected in the prices, and that's why there's been a lot of panic and some very, very heavy selling by foreign funds who are either looking to exit India because they believe this is the beginning of something which is worse, or the contrarian call is that this is the beginning of something very great. And if you have that outlook, then you will think that the Nifty will hit levels 30-40% higher over the next 2 years, if, as the government hopes, and some economists hope, that this is the beginning of a brand new transparent economy which will lead to the benefit. But as you said, the cash part is very, very critical to the Indian economy.
So in a sense, can we say that for the next few years at least, not few years, few quarters at least, one has to again refocus entirely on the urban economy and forget about the rural economy for some time? Because as we know, 93% of villages don't even have a bank, a physical bank out there. So therefore, it'll take time.
It will take time, but it's impossible to predict. I mean, I see various opinions. Some people who are in the cities are quite casual and blasé. They're saying it's not so bad, but they're sitting with 50, 100 banks around them. As you quite correctly said, people in villages are suffering. That's clear for everyone to see. So that's where the government should shift its focus and get the money to the rural people in the villages who don't have access to the banks. Once that situation is calm, I think the city dwellers will not have too much of a problem over the next couple of weeks. So predicting this is very, very difficult. I've seen today, coming to the office, that there are less queues. Maybe that's because of the. So if once those queues goes away, I think that's the beginning of the positive sign on the uptick.
Right, gentlemen, just hold your thoughts, because there's just about 2 minutes left for the markets to open, and I just want to read out some of the stocks that are in news today, and they're likely to react. Petronet LNG, its sales are down 12.3%, but look at that EBITDA and PAT jump, 54% up, and PAT up almost 82%. Deepak Fertilizers, sales down, PAT down. Sales down 14%, but PAT is down, but less so, 4.6 odd percent. Punj Lloyd, they signed a deal. They're going to co-develop 30 megawatt solar assets in Uttarakhand through a subsidiary, and that's going to be, it's a longish project, but this is a new deal that Punj Lloyd has got. Bharat Forge, there are reports that they're going to consider buying a North America-based auto and forgings company. Those it'll be considered today, so there's a meeting, and we'll get more details later on. Cadila Healthcare, they're going to transfer the Indian human formulations business to Zydus Health. And Pratibha Industries, they've got a 97.8 actually, we're just rounding that off, crore order for a water treatment plant, to set up a water treatment plant in Nepal. Several US FDA nods have come in. Aurobindo Pharma, it's got US FDA has given it a go-ahead to sell 2 new drugs. One is for birth control and another is to treat menopause-related symptoms. Unichem Labs, they have also got US FDA approval. They are going to be able to sell 2 new cancer drugs. One is to treat pancreatic cancer symptoms, and the other is to deal with ovarian cancer. So these are the ones which are in the news. There are some other numbers which came out, and you'll probably see some movement there. Because if there's some money sitting out there to buy, then it'll probably be news driven today. Just a few seconds left for the markets to open. Let's just take a pause and just look at how the Nifty and the Sensex are going to react. 8097 on the Nifty in pre-open. At the end of pre-open, there it opens. BHEL up 0.4%. Aurobindo Pharma, as I said, that it's got some US FDA nod, so 1% up. Asian Paints making a gradual comeback. Tata Motors down about 1% now, 0.8%. Bank of Baroda, it's had a stellar run, 1% up. Hindalco again today up 0.25%. Power Grid, this is on the buy list of Sumit Bagadia, that's up 0.5%. And Reliance 0.75% up. Axis Bank up about 1%. ITC down 1% again. Idea Cellular up 0.5%. Sun Pharma 0.25% up. Tata Motors DBR, that's down 0.7%. Interesting, because we just saw Tata Motors were up right at the opening of trade. Probably it's dropped by now. Ambuja Cement down up 1/3%. Aurobindo Pharma is the top gainer. It's continuing to gain at this moment, and it's up about 1.3 odd percent. Adani Ports is down 1/5%. Eicher Motors making a comeback, 0.8% up. Bharti Airtel It's on the sell list of our experts. That's down 0.1%. The Nifty has opened in the green. Marginally so, the Sensex has sold off already and it's in the red. HDFC flattish but red. Tech Mahindra again flat but in the red. Cipla 0.25% up. ONGC up 0.5%. Bharti Infratel, that is down 1.8%. Kotak Mahindra Bank is making a recovery now, 0.8% up. Coal India sales have been affected. That's down. Hero MotoCorp, as Sajiv Dhawan was saying, these are good quality companies. They've corrected. Maruti, Hero MotoCorp, perhaps it's time to buy. On the top of your screen, Wipro and TCS, one in the red but flat, one in the green but absolutely flat. HUL, it opened slightly strong in pre-open, now sold off marginally, 0.16% down. Grasim, about 0.1% down. The cement stocks looking slightly weak, not too much. But that entire two-wheeler space is actually making a comeback. Look at Eicher Motors and Bajaj Auto, both in the green. Petronet LNG, good numbers, and it's up 6.7%. Whereas Deepak Fertilizer, which has relatively poor numbers, that is down almost by the same amount. Heidelberg Cement down 4%. Delta Corp, it saw a savage sell-off. That's up today, 3%. PC Jewelers is down. Gillette India down about 2%. Astral Poly, the numbers came out today. Decent numbers, 2.4% up. Orient Cement is down 2.3% and BEML 2.4% down. But let's look at the highest turnover stocks. We've done about 2 minutes. We're going to look at the ones which have the maximum trade in terms of money traded, the turnover, not just volume. And the biggest gainer there is Petronet LNG. As you pointed out, very good numbers in terms of at least EBITDA and PAT from Petronet LNG, 6% up. Delta Corp, it's making a comeback after it sold off on the 11th, since the 8th, it sold off about 30%. It was 30% down, but yesterday it was up 8%, and today again it's made a comeback. Then there's UPL, 1.6% up. Hindustan Petroleum, HPCL up 1.3%. Aurobindo Pharma, it's sold off slightly. It was up almost 1.6%. Now it's 1.1% up. 30%, 32 rupees off from its day high. Or actually more than that. It's exactly 2 rupees off from its day high. Reliance Industries 1% up. NTPC 1% up. India Bulls Housing Finance, that's making a comeback again. Yesterday it was down marginally, but it had sold off about 10-12% ever since demonetization took place. The biggest loser right now is PC Jeweler. Now jewelry companies have been hit, and yesterday PC Jewelers actually made a comeback of almost 9%. It went up almost 10% yesterday, but down 4% today. Since the 9th, PC Jewelers has sold off almost 25% and then it made a comeback, and now it's sold off again about 5%. This is the biggest sell-off. BEML down 2.5%. Cadila Healthcare 1.8% up. Dr. Reddy's down 1.5%. Britannia Industries 1.5%. Voltas, the numbers were poor and the bad run continues for Voltas. It was down 8% yesterday. It's down about 1.5% today. So that's the broad picture that we're getting from the markets at the moment. I'm just going to quickly read out, as those stocks are shown on your screen, I'm going to read out what the broad picture is in terms of the indices. As we said, that the Nifty is marginally in the green. You can see it at on the left-hand side and the bottom of your screen. The Bank Nifty is up right now about 32 points. It's got about 1/6% on it. The Auto Nifty is down slightly. Nifty Media 0.5% down. Metal down marginally. So it's a flattish day. But if I look at the mid-cap and the small-cap indices, the BSE mid-cap index is up about 0.4%, and the BSE small-cap index absolutely flat, but in the green. So relatively flat start. We just have to wait and see what happens. The Nifty now in the red. Okay, Siddharth Sidani, in terms of real estate, do you think that the fear is overdone, or do you think that it's really going to be hit now?
Well, real estate was definitely in problem since a year or two. most of the larger companies, like leading companies like DLF and so on and so forth, were coming out of their non-core businesses is just because of a lot of pressures were created in the core business, that is real estate. So because of higher inventories, balance sheet little bit stretched, all these companies were coming out of their non-core businesses and infusing those cash in the mainstream business. So that was one of the reasons that real estate players are feeling the heat of it. Now what happened is, because of the demonetization factor, the black-white component, what it has been said as, the black component will definitely evaporate, if not soon, if not immediately, then it may take some time, but I think it will evaporate. So that will definitely create pressures for the real estate players going forward. But I would say the inventory and the execution problem is the key problem. On top of it, now demonetization is another issue which has arisen. So definitely real estate pack will face a pressure with a medium to long term perspective.
You know, in some ways the narrative has completely changed from what we had. Consumption facing stocks were supposed to be the ones which everyone was recommending, whether it's consumer durables, consumer discretionary, home improvement. What do you see happening to home improvement right now?
See, home improvement was one of the reasons where, because I was just reading through the housing finance companies and their business dynamisms and business models altogether. What we have learned is people are fearing of LAP book. In fact, LAP is very much to the salaried class. LAP is more taken by the salaried class on the home improvement front. So there would be little bit of a stay here at the current state. Home improvement stocks will definitely take a hit with a short term, at least for a quarter or two, because people are gonna come out of this chaos rather than getting into the home improvement likes of paints or using making any kind of a furniture at home or anything furnishing. I would say home improvement will take a hit. Consumption, as you were alluding to, I would still prefer that consumption play may take a hit, but that would be for a quarter or two. I think that would be a good opportunity to accumulate good quality stocks from here on.
Sajiv Dhawan, would you recommend to our viewers that they can actually right now, if someone has good quality stocks, that they should actually sell it right now and come back later?
Sorry, did you ask, should they exit the stocks and come back?
Yeah. Should one exit the stocks and come back later? Is there a chance that over the next quarter or two, at least one quarter, these stocks are going to correct even more?
Well, there's a very strong possibility still that there's going to be some downside in the markets, but that's because of the uncertainty and the confusion that is out there. This is a situation which might have happened 30, 40 years ago, but the current generation can't relate to that. Fund flows are much more sensitive. You've had the situation in the US, so it's hard to know how much of this is funds flowing out back into the US and how much is because there is real panic and concern that the Indian economy is going to be derailed for the next couple of quarters. So if you're a longer term investor, as I said, you can't keep trying to time things. If you sell today, there will be some bounce backs, there will be some covering going on, hopefully next week. You might not be able to buy back into those stocks. So I think if you have a 1 year sort of time frame, then there's no reason to panic. You'll spoil your long-term capital gains taxation benefits, which hopefully you'll see anyway. So if you're a trader, I think then maybe the call at the moment probably would be still to sell on the rallies unless there's a breakout above 82, 82.50 and the Nifty stays there. But purely from the valuations and the sort of price correction, I think a lot of stocks do look reasonably attractive from an investor perspective. As I said, traders are not so much on the long side, and you're seeing even days like today where we've had global markets relatively steady and firm. There's no conviction at all in the markets, and that's because of the continued uncertainty. So the losses for the traders are very large. Investors, probably is best to hold on and see what happens over the next couple of months, but be prepared for another 5 to 10% correction in the stocks if the FIs continue to hit the panic button.
Okay, Sumit Bagadia, there are some stocks that have done well today based on numbers, and one of them is Petronet LNG. What would you do with Petronet LNG?
See, if anyone is having longer term perspective, then one can initiate long position in Petronet LNG because the overall structure of the stock is looking good. And in last couple of months, we have seen that stock has given a one-way rally from the levels of around 245 to 50 levels. Almost a rally of 120 points we have seen from lower levels. Now the stock is consolidating near 340, 350 levels. I think if till the time we don't see clear breakdown below 345 levels, any dip from present levels in Petronet should be used as buying opportunity. And on higher side, the stock can immediately touch levels of around 385, 390 levels. Fresh trend in Petronet would be seen once when the stock gives clear breakout above 390 levels. For shorter term time horizon, the range would be 345 on lower side, and on higher side it would be 390. A fresh breakout would be seen if the stock is able to break 390 levels on closing basis. If that is seen, then we can see levels of around 410, 415 in next couple of weeks. Overall, the stock is looking good. So from present levels, if anyone wants to initiate a long position, then can initiate. Or if by chance there is a small dip from present levels, then that can be used as a buying opportunity for the immediate target of 390 levels, and then we can see levels of around 410 also.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to quickly take your disclosures. Let me start with Sajiv Dhawan.
Safe to assume that most of the stocks I've discussed that we would be recommending to clients, and personally or in the company we would have long positions in them.
All right, and Siddharth Sidani?
Personally, I do not hold any of the stock which I have discussed, but my organization and client must be holding.
And finally, Sumit Bagadia.
Yeah, today we spoke about few stocks, especially the stocks which we have recommended as a trading calls. We have recommended to our clients also. So it's better to assume that our clients might have positions. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining us this morning.